What if I told you that the two greatest Belgian players of this generation are quietly running out of time, and that their last chance at football's biggest stage is closer than anyone thinks? Stay with me, because what's coming next, nobody in football media is actually saying out loud. For almost 15 years, Belgium has had arguably the most talented squad in European football. They called it the Golden Generation. World-class players, stacked in every position. But one thing they never got, a World Cup trophy, not even a final. Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, two names that defined an era, two legends who gave everything for the Red Devils. But here's the thing nobody is stopping to ask. How much time do they actually have left? Let's talk numbers, because in football, numbers don't lie. Kevin De Bruyne was born on June 28, 1991. That means by the time the 2026 FIFA World Cup kicks off, right there in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, he will be 34. 34. Now, for a central midfielder, a box-to-box, press-resistant, physically demanding position like De Bruyne plays, 34 is not old. It's ancient by modern standards. And before you say Luka Modric is still playing at 38, yes, that's true, but Modric has had one of the cleanest injury records in elite football. De Bruyne, not so much. Since 2020, De Bruyne has suffered multiple serious muscle injuries. A hamstring here, a shoulder there, extended absences from Manchester City that shook even Pep Guardiola's system. These aren't just setbacks, they're warning signs. Then there's Romelu Lukaku, born May 13, 1993. He'll be 33 at the 2026 World Cup. Now, Lukaku is a different kind of player. A striker built like a tank, still capable of terrorizing defenders on his best days. Age theoretically hits strikers a little later than midfielders. But Lukaku has had his own demons. Career controversies, club struggles at Chelsea that turned into a soap opera, Inter Milan saving his confidence, Roma, a career that's felt like 2 steps forward, 1 step back for years. So here's the partial reveal for you right now. Both De Bruyne and Lukaku are almost certainly going to the 2026 World Cup. And that's exactly the problem nobody is facing. Because it's not about whether they'll be there, it's about what version of them will show up. But before I get to that, and trust me, the most important part of this story is coming, I need you to do one thing. If you're watching Football Atlas for the first time, hit that subscribe button right now. We cover the stories that the big football channels aren't brave enough to touch. No hype, no clickbait, just football intelligence. And if you're already part of the Atlas family, drop a comment below. Do you think Belgium can win the 2026 World Cup with De Bruyne and Lukaku leading the charge? Let me know. I read every single one. Now, back to Belgium, because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's be brutally honest about Belgium's World Cup journey. 2014, quarterfinals, knocked out by Argentina. 2018, third place, lost the semifinal to France in one of the most controversial matches in recent memory. Roberto Martinez's tactics still spark debates to this day. 2022, group stage disaster, couldn't get past Morocco. Tension in the dressing room, reports of player clashes. Lukaku benched, De Bruyne publicly frustrated. The Golden Generation has one last bullet in the chamber, and 2026 might literally be it. Here's what nobody is talking about, and I mean nobody. The 2026 World Cup is a 48-team tournament. More games, more pathways, more chances for smaller mistakes to be punished, and more room for big players to carry teams deeper than they ever could before. On paper, this is actually Belgium's best ever structural chance to go far. More teams in the group stage, more routes through the knockout rounds, and a Belgium squad that, despite the decay of the Golden Generation, still has enormous quality. Thibaut Courtois in goal, one of the best goalkeepers on the planet if he can stay fit after his ACL nightmare. Yuri Tielemans, Amanu Onana, and a midfield that is actually being rebuilt with younger, hungrier players. And up front, you still have Romelu Lukaku, a man who, in the right system, in the right mental space, is still capable of a 20-goal season at the highest level. We've seen it. We know it's there. The real question, the uncomfortable question, is this: can De Bruyne stay healthy for an entire tournament? Not just qualify, not just show up, but genuinely perform for 7 games across 4 weeks. Let's be real. In 2022, De Bruyne was clearly not at 100%. He played through discomfort. His touch was there, his vision was there, but the burst, that electric, terrifying burst of speed and energy he had in 2018, was missing.
The 2026 version of De Bruyne needs to make peace with something. He doesn't have to be the 2018 version. He doesn't need to be the player who destroyed Brazil in that famous quarterfinal. He needs to be the 2024 version, the smarter, more positionally aware, slower but deadlier De Bruyne, the quarterback, the chess master, the player who doesn't chase the ball but simply appears where it needs to go. If that De Bruyne shows up in 2026, Belgium is dangerous. And Lukaku? Here's the truth about Lukaku that is almost never said fairly. Romelu Lukaku is one of the most productive strikers in World Cup history when you look purely at goals per game. But he has suffered, and I mean genuinely suffered, from the weight of expectation placed on him by a country that needed a superhero and sometimes forgot he was human. In 2026, Belgium doesn't need Lukaku to be Ronaldo. They don't need him to carry the team on his back for every single game. They need him to be the focal point, the target man, the player who holds the ball up for De Bruyne, who drags defenders, who creates chaos and converts the chances that come his way. That Lukaku, he can absolutely still do that at 33. So here's the full picture. Belgium in 2026 is not a golden generation story anymore. It's a transition team with 2 legendary anchors. The new generation, Onana, Jeremy Doku, Loiso Penda, and Charles de Ketelaere, they are the future, but De Bruyne and Lukaku are the bridge, the experienced voices, the last connection to what Belgium once was. And in a 48-team World Cup, with more games, more noise, more chaos, experience matters enormously. Teams that have been there before, players who don't panic in the knockout rounds, leaders in the dressing room when everything is falling apart. De Bruyne and Lukaku are exactly that. And if Belgium gets the draw right, if they avoid the major European powers in the early rounds, if Courtois is healthy, if the squad is unified, this team could genuinely go further than any Belgian side in history. The window isn't closed, it's open, just barely, but it's open. The question isn't whether De Bruyne and Lukaku will have one last World Cup. The question is, will Belgium be brave enough to build a team that actually deserves them? And now I'm going to say something that a lot of football fans will absolutely hate. Belgium's problem has never been De Bruyne and Lukaku. Belgium's problem has always been the federation, the system, and the cowardice of the tactical decisions around them. Think about it. The semi-final against France, Belgium had a 0-0 at halftime. They had De Bruyne, they had Hazard, they had Lukaku, and Roberto Martinez chose caution. The Qatar group stage, Lukaku, Belgium's all-time top scorer, was managed so poorly that he ended up in public arguments, benched in critical moments, while the team went out without ever finding their rhythm. These players didn't fail Belgium. Belgium's structure failed these players. So here's my hot take, and I'm standing by it. If Belgium goes to 2026 with the right coach, the right system, and the right mentality around De Bruyne and Lukaku, they could actually win it. Not just reach the final, not just come third again, win it. Is that unrealistic? Maybe. But football doesn't run on probability, it runs on moments. And De Bruyne in the third, Lukaku in the box, Doku on the wing with pace that frightens anyone in the world, that's a nightmare for any defense on the planet. The legacy of Belgium's golden generation doesn't have to end in disappointment. 2026 can be the redemption arc, but only if Belgium stops being afraid of what they actually have. One last dance, one last shot. De Bruyne, Lukaku, 2026. Let it happen. That's the story nobody is telling, and Football Atlas told it first. Now I want to hear from you.
Do you believe Belgium can actually win the 2026 World Cup with De Bruyne and Lukaku leading the way? Or is the golden generation truly done? Drop your prediction in the comments. I'm going to pin the best ones. And if this video gave you something to think about, something you won't hear on the mainstream channels, then share it with one football fan who needs to see this. That's how Football Atlas grows. Not with algorithms, with real fans who love real football. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell. New videos every week. I'm Football Atlas, and we're just getting started.